Y'all right here, still make another line right there in front of them.
Gentlemen, scoot in closer so they can get one line.
All right, we're ready to go, Judge.
Okay. Good morning, everyone.
Buenos días a todos.
My name is Judge John Parker, and I'm with the Clayton County Magistrate Court.
Yo soy el juez John Parker y yo trabajo para el Tribunal de Primera Instancia del Condado de Clayton.
This is the first appearance hearing calendar for July the 10th.
Esta es la lista de causa para la comparecencia inicial del día 10 de julio.
We are not here to try your case or to take a plea this morning.
En la mañana de hoy no estamos acá para juzgar su caso o para aceptar una declaración a cargos.
So we're not going to be having any legal discussions about the specific facts of your case.
O sea que no vamos a tener discusiones legales con respecto a los detalles específicos de su caso.
What I'm going to do for each of you is inform you of the charges against you.
Lo que voy a hacer para cada uno de ustedes es informarle cuáles son los cargos que se le imputa.
I'm going to advise you of your rights.
Le voy a informar sus derechos.
I'm going to set a bond on those offenses where I'm authorized to do so this morning.
Le voy a asignar una fianza en aquellos delitos en los cuales se me autoriza en la mañana de hoy asignarle fianza.
I'm going to schedule a preliminary hearing.
Le voy a programar una audiencia preliminar.
I'm going to determine whether you qualify for and require the assistance of a court-appointed attorney.
Y yo voy a determinar si usted califica o si requiere la ayuda de un abogado de oficio.
You have the right to remain silent.
Usted tiene el derecho de permanecer en silencio.
This is a public hearing that is streamed live to YouTube and recorded.
Y esta es una audiencia que está siendo transmitida en vivo en YouTube y está siendo grabada.
Therefore, please do not attempt to tell me any specific facts about your case or any personal details that I do not ask you for.
Por esa razón, no trate de darme detalles específicos de su caso o detalles personales que yo no le pida.
Anything you say during this proceeding can be used against you at a later proceeding.
Cualquier cosa que usted diga durante esta audiencia podría ser utilizada en su contra en las audiencias posteriores.
You are presumed to be innocent of your charges until the state of Georgia proves your guilt beyond a reasonable doubt.
A usted se le presume ser inocente de los cargos hasta que el estado de Georgia pruebe su culpabilidad más allá de una duda razonable.
You have the right to an indictment by a grand jury for felonies or by accusation for misdemeanors.
Usted tiene el derecho a que el gran jurado presente una acusación formal en su contra o de que se presente una acusación para los delitos menores.
You have the right to a speedy and a public trial by a jury.
Tiene el derecho de tener un juicio sin demora público ante un jurado.
You have the right to compel the attendance of witnesses to testify on your behalf.
Tiene el derecho de exigir la presencia de testigos para que testifiquen a su favor.
And the right to see, hear, and question witnesses who are called to testify against you.
Y el derecho de ver, escuchar y contrainterrogar a los testigos que sean citados a testificar en su contra.
You also have the right to testify yourself.
También usted tiene el derecho de atestiguar.
You have the right to have an attorney represent you.
Tiene el derecho de tener un abogado para que lo represente.
If you cannot afford an attorney, one can be appointed to represent you if you qualify.
Si usted no tuviese los medios para contratar a un abogado, uno le podría ser nombrado si usted reúne los requisitos.
If you are not a United States citizen, some charges may adversely affect your immigration status.
Si usted no es ciudadano de los Estados Unidos, algunos cargos podrían afectar de forma negativa su estado migratorio.
If you have any questions about immigration, you would need to consult with an attorney.
Y si usted tiene alguna pregunta con respecto a inmigración, usted tendría que consultar con un abogado.
I will assign bond amounts on most people's charges today.
En el día de hoy, yo le voy a asignar una fianza a la mayoría de las personas en la mayoría de los cargos.
Posting a bond will allow your release from jail while waiting for the trial in your case.
Al pagar la fianza, esto le va a permitir salir de la cárcel mientras usted espera tener un juicio en su caso.
Bonds can be posted in 3 different ways, and the first is cash.
Las fianzas podrían ser pagadas de 3 maneras diferentes. La primera sería en efectivo.
If someone delivers the full amount of the bond in cash, along with any mandated fees, to the sheriff's office would hold that cash bond until your final court date and then return it to the person who posted the bond.
Alguien tendría que llevar la cantidad total de su fianza en efectivo a la comisaría, más los recargos de ley. La comisaría se quedaría con este dinero de la fianza y al final de los casos se lo reembolsaría.
If you do not have the full amount of the bond in cash, you may be able to hire a commercial bonding company to post a bond for you.
Si usted no tuviera la cantidad total de su fianza en efectivo, puede ser que usted pueda contratar una compañía de fianza comercial para que pagara la fianza por usted.
Those companies may charge 10 to 15% of the bond as their fee, and that is a fee that is not returned to you at the end of your case.
Estas compañías de fianza podrían cobrarle entre un 10 y un 15% de la cantidad total de su fianza como una tarifa, pero esta tarifa no le sería reembolsada al final de su caso.
Someone may also may also post a bond using their property if they have a net equity in that property of at least 3 times the amount of the bond.
Alguien también podría pagar la fianza utilizando una propiedad siempre y cuando dicha propiedad tenga un capital neto que sea por lo menos 3 veces la cantidad total de su fianza.
Each bond will have a condition that you are not to violate any laws while out on bond.
Cada una de estas fianzas van a tener como condición que usted no puede infringir las leyes mientras esté bajo libertad de fianza.
Some of you will have additional special conditions that prohibit you from contacting certain people or going to certain places.
Algunos de ustedes tendrán condiciones especiales adicionales donde se le prohíbe ponerse en contacto con ciertas personas o de que vaya a ciertos lugares.
If I place a no contact provision on your bond, that means you must stay away from and have no contact with that person.
Si yo le pongo una condición de no tener contacto en su fianza, esto significa que usted tiene que mantenerse alejado y no tener contacto con esa persona.
No contact means you may not call them, text them, email them, write a letter to them, or contact them in any way through social media.
El no tener contacto significa que usted no le puede llamar, usted no le puede enviar un mensaje de texto, un correo electrónico, enviarle una carta o tener contacto utilizando las redes sociales.
If I order you not to return to a particular location, it means you cannot go back to that location for any reason.
Si yo le ordenara no regresar a un lugar en particular, esto significa que usted no puede regresar a ese lugar por ninguna razón.
If that location is your residence that you share with an alleged victim in your case, please let me know that so that I can adjust your bond conditions.
Si esta residencia es su residencia y es una residencia que usted comparte con la presunta víctima, por favor, hágamelo saber y yo voy a hacer los ajustes correspondientes a las condiciones de la fianza.
I can adjust the bond to allow you to return to the residence one time while accompanied by law enforcement in order to collect what personal belongings you will need while out on bond.
Yo podría hacer el ajuste para permitirle que usted regrese una vez, pero acompañado de un alguacil para que pueda retirar sus artículos personales.
That is an appointment that you would need to schedule with the sheriff's office within the first 10 days of your release.
Y esta es una cita que usted tendría que hacer con la oficina del sheriff dentro de los primeros 10 días de usted haber salido de la cárcel.
The court takes these special conditions very seriously.
Esta corte toma estas condiciones especiales muy en serio.
If you violate your special conditions, you could face additional felony charges such as aggravated stalking or influencing a witness.
Y si usted infringe las condiciones de su fianza, a usted se le podría imputar cargos adicionales por delitos graves como persecución ilícita con agravante o influenciar a un testigo.
Those types of charges carry punishment of up to 20 years in prison and $20,000 in fines.
Este tipo de cargos conllevan un castigo de hasta 20 años de prisión y una multa de hasta $20,000.
If I order you to have no contact and stay away from a particular person, that same person cannot post your bond for you.
Si yo le digo que usted tiene que mantenerse alejado y no tener contacto con una persona en particular, a esa persona no se le va a permitir pagar su fianza.
You're also not allowed to contact an alleged victim while you are in jail.
También se le ordena ponerse en contacto con la presunta víctima mientras usted esté en la cárcel.
For those family members and friends watching our live stream this morning who plan on assisting someone in posting a bond this afternoon, please wait at least 3 hours until after the end of our hearing.
Para esos familiares o amistades que están planeando ayudar a alguien en la mañana de hoy a pagar la fianza esta tarde, por lo menos denos 3 horas después que hayamos terminado esta audiencia para tratar de pagar la fianza.
It takes us that amount of time to process all of today's paperwork.
Toma esa cantidad de tiempo para procesar la documentación del día de hoy.
Some of you are charged with offenses for which this court is not authorized to set a bond, and in those cases, a bond hearing will be scheduled before the Superior Court of Clayton County.
Algunos de ustedes se le acusa de delitos por los cuales a este tribunal no se le autoriza a fijar una fianza. En ese caso, una audiencia para pedir fianza sería programada en el Tribunal Superior del Condado de Clayton.
If you are currently on probation, this court may not be authorized to set a bond this morning in your case.
Si usted está actualmente bajo libertad condicional, podría ser que este tribunal no se le autorice a asignar una fianza en el día de hoy.
Okay, I'm going to schedule everyone for a preliminary hearing to occur in approximately 1 month.
Yo les voy a programar a todos una audiencia preliminar, la cual va a ocurrir más o menos en un mes.
The purpose of a preliminary hearing is to determine if there is enough evidence or probable cause to justify keeping you detained on your charges.
El propósito de la audiencia preliminar es determinar si hay suficiente motivo fundado o pruebas para mantener a la persona detenida por los cargos imputados.
If you post a bond and are released from jail anytime before that preliminary hearing, then that preliminary hearing is automatically waived or canceled.
Si usted paga su fianza y sale de la cárcel en cualquier momento antes de la fecha de su audiencia preliminar, esa audiencia preliminar se cancelaría automáticamente.
At that point, magistrate court, which is where you are now, transfers your case to state or superior court so that your arraignment hearing can be scheduled.
Y en ese momento, el tribunal de primera instancia, que es donde usted está ahora, transferiría su caso ya sea al tribunal superior o al tribunal estatal para usted tener su instrucción de cargos.
If you are only charged with misdemeanors this morning and would like to waive your preliminary hearing right away so that your case is transferred to state court faster, I will allow you to sign a waiver this morning.
Si a usted se le imputa cargos por delitos menores solamente y usted quiere renunciar a tener su audiencia preliminar para que su caso vaya al otro tribunal más rápido, yo le voy a permitir que usted renuncie a tener su audiencia preliminar en el día de hoy.
Waiving your preliminary hearing does not affect your ability to post a bond, and if you do bond out, you are waiving the preliminary hearing automatically.
Al renunciar a tener su audiencia preliminar, esto no afecta el hecho de que usted pueda pagar su fianza, y si usted paga su fianza y sale, su audiencia preliminar se cancela automáticamente.
Now I need to swear everyone in. Please raise your right hand.
Yo necesito juramentarlos a todos. Por favor, levante su mano derecha.
Do you swear or affirm that the information you're about to give to this court, as well as any information you have provided on your application for court-appointed counsel, is true and correct? If so, say I do.
I do.
Jura usted y afirma que la información que usted va a dar ante este tribunal, así como también la información suministrada en su solicitud para un abogado de oficio, es correcta y verdadera. Si así lo jura, dígalo juro.
All right. Thank you. And deputies, can I get Brandon Bean up first, please?
Yes, sir.
Excuse me.
You can lower your hand.
Split up between the two. Split up between the two. Okay, which one y'all-
Mademoiselle.
Give me 1 second.
Sure.
See Mr. Bean?
Yes, sir.
All right, y'all two step over here. Over there.
All right. Good morning, sir. You Brandon Bean?
Yes, sir.
Okay, your attorney, Mr. Fry, is here with us. I'm going to discuss your case with him for just a moment here. And so let me tell you what the charges are. The charges are trafficking in illegal drugs, possession of a firearm or knife during the commission of certain crimes, and possession of a controlled substance with intent to manufacture controlled substance. And so, Mr. Fry, is there anything you want to tell me on bond?
Your Honor, he's going to be living with his mother. She is a Henry County resident. She owns her own home. I expect that he will live with her throughout the balance of this case. I'm unaware of the weapon charge. I think that the controlled substance was ecstasy or MDMA or Molly, whatever they're calling it these days. And I think there was one central place where there was multiple pills. I don't think that there's any evidence of an intent to manufacture a drug or do anything of the like. And I'm unaware of any kind of firearm or weapon that would have been possessed at the time that the authorities found the controlled substance. At the time they found this, my client was not at the house. So there would have been no arm's reach or immediate ability to possess that weapon. And also, Your Honor, I do not believe that he has any appreciable criminal history. I think he may have some Title 40 offenses, but nothing else.
Yeah, I didn't see much on there in terms of criminal history. And I'm also aware, thank you for letting me know that there is a co-defendant in this case who has already been assigned bond with this, and I think it's the same charges
Yes, sir.
on hers. What I'm going to do is just keep the bonds consistent with what the co-defendant had.
Yes, sir.
And I looked up to see what those bonds were when the co-defendant came through. And so on the trafficking, it was a $10,000 bond. On the firearm charge, 5,000, and on the possession with intent charge, 5,000. So the total bond will be 20,000.
Yes, sir.
Don't know. Okay. And the preliminary hearing will be scheduled for August the 7th, unless you need another date on that.
No, sir. I believe that we will get busy between now and then.
Okay. All right. August the 7th at 8:30. And I think that'll take care of everything on my end. Anything else further on this one, Mr. Fry?
None, Your Honor. May we be excused.
Yes,
thank you, sir.
Good to see
Yes,
you.
sir.
And thank you, Mr. Bean.
Yes, sir.
All right. And I'll take deputies, I'll take the Spanish speaking defendants up, please.
What'd you say? Oh, the males can go like they're back. But since it's just him, I can see them.
You just want to pop the back door and have it open?
No.
Right, so that's why I asked.
Yeah, he can. Ma'am.
Let's see, can we move the camera down just a little bit? I can only see the top of her head there. All right, that's good. Good morning, ma'am.
Buenos días, señora.
Buenos días.
Good morning.
Can you tell me your full name?
¿Me podría usted dar su nombre completo?
María de Lourdes López López.
María de Lourdes López López.
Thank you. Give me one moment to find your paperwork here.
Gracias. Deme un momento para encontrar su documentación.
Give me just 1 second here. Okay. You have two charges.
Usted se le imputa dos cargos.
These are both misdemeanors.
Estos dos son delitos menores.
The first charge is distracted driving or a violation of the hands-free driving law.
El primer cargo es por manejo distraído
That
o sea, una infracción
that
por
bond.
tener
Sorry.
I'm sorry, Judge, por tener un
Sorry.
dispositivo en su mano mientras conducía.
That bond is $500.
Esa fianza es de $500
And then your next charge is driving without a license.
y su próximo cargo es de manejar sin licencia de conducir.
That bond is going to be $1,000.
Esa fianza va a ser de $1,000.
And so your total bond comes to $1,500.
O sea que la cantidad total de su fianza va a ser de $1,500.
Your preliminary hearing would be scheduled for August the 6th unless you want to waive that hearing.
Su audiencia preliminar va a estar programada para el día 6 de agosto, a menos que usted quiera renunciar a tener esa audiencia.
Do you want me to go ahead and schedule you for August the 6th?
¿Quiere usted que yo le programe la audiencia para el día 6 de agosto?
Pero una pregunta, pero ¿para qué voy a venir esa vez?
But a question, why do I have to come at that time?
That hearing would only be held if you are still in jail. So if you plan on posting a bond later today or any time before then, the hearing will just be canceled at the point you bond out.
Esta audiencia solamente la tendríamos si usted todavía está encarcelado. O sea que si usted paga la fianza en el día de hoy o antes de esa fecha, esa audiencia se cancela.
No la voy a pagar hoy.
I'm going to pay it today.
Okay. So, okay. Well, the preliminary hearing will just be canceled at the point that you process out.
O sea que la audiencia preliminar se va a cancelar en el momento que a usted la procesen para salir.
You'll then get a notice in the mail from state court of when to come back to court to enter your plea.
Y luego usted va a recibir un citatorio por correo por parte del tribunal estatal, indicándole cuándo usted tiene que venir de regreso al tribunal para que haga su declaración a cargos.
When you come back to court, would you like to be represented by a public defender attorney at no cost?
Cuando usted regresa al tribunal, ¿le gustaría ser representada por un abogado de oficio sin costo?
Necesito ver el abogado, no sé cuánto me vaya a cobrar.
I will have to see how much I will have to pay to the attorney. I don't know how much the attorney is going to charge me.
Okay. Do you want to see if you qualify for a free attorney?
¿Le gustaría usted ver si usted cumple con los requisitos para un abogado de gratis?
Okay.
Yes.
What type of work do you do?
¿Qué tipo de trabajo hace usted?
Hago lavandería.
I work at a laundromat.
Okay. And are you paid every week?
¿Le pagan semanalmente?
No, cada 2 semanas.
No, every 2 weeks.
How much do you take home after taxes every 2 weeks?
¿Cuánto se lleva usted a la casa después de haber pagado los impuestos cada 2 semanas?
Solamente reporto 80 horas.
I only report 80 hours.
And how much do you make per hour?
¿Y cuánto gana usted por hora?
A 13 la hora.
13 an hour.
Okay. I'm going to find that you do qualify for a free public defender attorney.
Yo encuentro que usted sí califica para asignarle un abogado de oficio.
And I will make sure someone is assigned to represent you on these charges.
Y me voy a asegurar que se le asigna a alguien para que la represente con estos cargos.
Do you have any questions, ma'am?
¿Tiene usted alguna pregunta, señora?
Sí, entonces lo del abogado, ¿me van a mandar por correo el nombre de abogados o cómo?
And when it comes to the attorney, are they going to send me in the mail the name of the attorney, or how is that?
I'm not sure how exactly they will contact you. It may be when you come to court, or it may be sometime before then. I'm not really sure when they contact you.
Yo no estoy muy seguro de cuándo ellos se ponen en contacto con usted. Puede ser que sea antes o puede ser cuando usted venga, el día que usted venga al tribunal. Yo no estoy muy seguro de cómo ellos lo hacen.
Okay. Thank you very much, ma'am.
Okay.
Muchas gracias, señora.
All right. And deputies, was she our only Spanish speaker today?
No, you were supposed to have one more, but two more.
Next time,
Same
come
as
step
you.
up.
Come on.
Okay, good morning, sir.
Buenos días, señor.
Well,
Can you say your full name for me?
¿Me podría decir su nombre completo?
César Javier Gómez Chicaiza.
César Javier Gómez Chicalza.
Okay. Thank you, and give me just one moment to get your paperwork here.
Deme un momento para buscar su documentación.
Okay.
You done?
Three to what they get supervisors cover to your three examples today. I'm gonna click go through this document.
You gotta go back up. Hey, who was the?
Him.
Him? Go ahead.
Okay, sir, you have been brought before the court today because you have charges pending in another state.
Señor, usted ha sido traído ante la corte en el día de hoy porque usted tiene cargos pendientes en otro estado.
I'm not aware of any charges that you have here in Clayton County.
Yo no tengo conocimiento de que usted tenga cargos pendientes acá en el condado de Clayton.
You were picked up because you are wanted by Middlesex County, New Jersey, for a violation of probation.
Y a usted lo arrestaron, lo detuvieron, porque el condado de Middlesex, en New Jersey, lo pidió su detención por haber violado su libertad condicional.
You get up here, bud.
And New Jersey has indicated that they want to bring you back to New Jersey to face that charge.
Y New Jersey nos ha indicado que ellos lo quieren traer de regreso a New Jersey para que usted responda a ese cargo.
So what I'm going to do is quickly explain your rights regarding extradition.
O sea que lo que yo voy a hacer rápidamente es explicarles cuáles son sus derechos cuando tiene que ver con el proceso de extradición.
And after I provide you with this information, I'm going to ask you whether you want to agree to allow New Jersey to come and pick you up, or if you want to contest the legality of the extradition process.
Y después que yo le dé esta información, yo le voy a preguntar si usted está de acuerdo en permitir que New Jersey venga a buscarlo o si usted quiere impugnar la legalidad del proceso de extradición.
You have the right to be represented by an attorney, and if you cannot afford one, one can be appointed to represent you.
Usted tiene el derecho de ser representado por un abogado y si usted no pudiese o no tuviese los medios para contratarse uno le sería asignado.
All of the other rights that I explained earlier this morning also apply to you.
Además, todos los derechos que yo le expliqué anteriormente también les aplican a usted.
If you desire to contest the legality of the extradition proceeding, then you must file or have filed on your behalf a writ of habeas corpus.
Si usted desea impugnar la legalidad del proceso de extradición, usted tiene que presentar o de haber presentado lo que se llama un escrito de habeas corpus.
You would be allowed a reasonable amount of time to file such a writ.
Y a usted se le permitirá una cantidad de tiempo razonable para presentar dicho escrito.
However, the writ of habeas corpus can only contest 4 issues.
Sin embargo, el escrito de habeas corpus solamente puede lidiar con 4 asuntos.
The first is whether the extradition documents are in order on their face.
El primero es si los documentos del proceso de extradición aparentan estar en orden.
The second is whether you are charged with something that is actually a crime in New Jersey.
El segundo es si el cargo que a usted se le imputa en New Jersey es en realidad un cargo que existe.
The third is whether you are the person named in New Jersey's request for extradition.
El tercero es si usted es la persona nombrada en la petición de extradición de New Jersey.
And the fourth is whether you qualify as a fugitive from justice.
Y el cuarto es si usted califica como lo que se llama un prófugo de la justicia.
You cannot contest the issue of your guilt or innocence on this charge while here in Georgia.
Usted no puede impugnar el asunto de culpabilidad. I'm sorry, Joanna, can you repeat that for the interpreter?
You cannot contest the issue of your guilt or innocence of this charge while here in Georgia.
Usted no puede impugnar el asunto de culpabilidad o inocencia mientras usted esté acá en el estado de Georgia.
That has to take place in a New Jersey court.
Y esto tiene que realizarse en el tribunal de New Jersey.
Now, let me tell you about the time limits involved in your decision.
Déjeme hablar con usted de cuáles son las fechas límites cuando tiene que ver con su decisión.
If you waive extradition, and that is agreeing that New Jersey can come and pick you up, they have 30 days to do so.
Si usted está de acuerdo en renunciar al proceso de extradición, o sea, que New Jersey lo venga a buscar, ellos tienen 30 días para hacer eso.
If they have not picked you up after 30 days, then you would be released from jail.
Si ellos no lo han venido a buscar en 30 días, entonces a usted lo pondrían en libertad.
If you contest the legality of the extradition and New Jersey is unable to complete the extradition process within those 30 days, you may be held for an additional 60 days while the extradition process is being completed.
Si usted impugna el proceso de extradición y New Jersey no puede completar el proceso de extradición en esos 30 días, entonces usted podría ser detenido por 60 días adicionales para que ellos puedan completar el proceso.
So if you're contesting the extradition, that may give New Jersey up to 90 days to complete it.
O sea que si usted impugna el proceso de extradición, eso le podría otorgar a New Jersey hasta 90 días para poder realizar el proceso.
Okay. So with all of that in mind, do you want to waive extradition, which gives them the 30 days, or do you want to contest extradition, which may give them up to 90 days?
O sea que teniendo todo, ¿quiere usted renunciar al proceso de extradición, lo cual le daría hasta 30 días? ¿O quiere impugnar el proceso de extradición, lo cual le daría a New Jersey hasta 90 días?
La verdad de estos temas legales, yo no entiendo, honorable juez. No sé cuál es lo conveniente.
The truth, Your Honor, is that when it comes to these legal issues, I don't understand them and I don't know what will be best.
Okay, I can't give you legal advice. I can only tell you what your two options are at this point.
En este momento yo no le puedo dar consejos legales, yo solamente le puedo indicar cuáles son las dos opciones que tiene.
Yo tengo que ir a New Jersey a arreglar, pero me dijeron que si yo no tenía los documentos me iban a mandar a New Jersey para terminar mi proceso. No sé qué hacer ahora. Si esperar 90 días, 60 días.
I'm sorry, Your Honor, the interpreter is not quite understanding, so the interpreter needs some clarification. Señor, yo no le entendí lo último que dijo. ¿Me podía explicar? ¿Me podría decir eso de nuevo?
Ok, me dijeron ayer que si no encontraban mis documentos, me podían soltar hoy para yo hacer mi proceso en New Jersey.
Deme un momentito. They told me yesterday that if they didn't find my documents, I could be released today, so I could go back to New Jersey and go through the process.
Okay. They did receive your documents because they sent them to me this morning. I have them here.
Ellos sí encontraron su documentación en la mañana de hoy porque ellos me la enviaron a mí. Yo la tengo acá.
Okay, entonces, eso disculpe, eso de negar la extradición casi no entiendo. Si espero 60 o 90 días, no sé cuál tomar. Disculpe.
But I'm sorry. I don't understand when it comes to to fighting the process, I don't know what it means if I do the 90 days or if I do the 30 days.
Okay, I don't really understand your question,
Yo realmente no entiendo su pregunta,
but I will tell you, if you agree that they can come and pick you up, then it gives them 30 days to do so.
yo no entiendo su pregunta, pero yo sí le puedo decir que si usted está de acuerdo en que ellos vengan a buscarlo, ellos van a tener 30 días para hacer eso.
If you are fighting the legality of the extradition, then it gives them 90 days to complete the process.
Y si usted pelea la legalidad del proceso de extradición, entonces eso le da a ellos 90 días para hacer el proceso.
And you or an attorney representing you must file a writ of habeas corpus, which is the legal document that contests the extradition.
Y ya sea usted o un abogado que lo represente, tendría que presentar lo que es un escrito de habeas corpus, que es el documento legal que se utiliza para impugnar el proceso.
Okay. So with that in mind, do you want to waive the extradition and agree that they can come pick you up, or do you want to contest the extradition?
O sea que teniendo esto en cuenta, ¿quiere usted renunciar al proceso de extradición? O sea que estaría de acuerdo en que ellos lo vengan a buscar o impugnar el proceso de extradición.
Ok, disculpe, a ver si entendí. Si yo niego el proceso, tengo que estar aquí 30 días preso, ¿verdad? Es lo que yo entiendo. Disculpe.
Ok, dame un momentito. Ok, let me see okay, let me see if I understand what he's saying, Your Honor. Repita eso para el intérprete.
Disculpe, honorable juez. Quiere decir que si yo niego eso, tengo que estar aquí 30 días preso hasta que ellos me vengan a recoger.
I'm sorry, Your Honor. So does that mean that if I refuse, I have to be here for 30 days until they come to pick me up?
No, that's if you are agreeing that they can come and pick you up.
No, eso es si usted está de acuerdo en que ellos lo pueden venir a buscar. Usted tendría que estar aquí por 30 días.
If you are contesting the extradition, they may have 90 days to do that.
Pero si usted se opone al proceso de extradición, entonces ellos pueden tener hasta 90 días para venirlo a buscar.
O sea, yo estaría acá 90 días preso.
Then I will have to stay here for 90 days.
Up to 90, yes.
Hasta 90, sí.
Oh, entonces, disculpe, honorable juez. Entonces, yo quiero hacer lo más rápido posible, pues.
Okay, Your Honor, then I would like to do the process that makes it faster.
Okay, so you want to waive extradition, which gives them 30 days to come and pick you up. And if they haven't picked you up after 30 days, then you would be released from jail.
Entonces usted quiere renunciar al proceso de extradición, lo que significa que eso le daría a ellos 30 días para venir a buscarlo, y si ellos no vienen a buscarlo en esos 30 días, entonces a usted lo pondrían en libertad.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. There are some waiver forms that you will need to sign there that indicate you are waiving extradition and you are doing so freely and voluntarily. And you will need to sign those forms several times.
Hay varios documentos de renuncia. Lo que estos documentos indican es que usted está renunciando al proceso de extradición y que usted está renunciando a ese proceso libre y voluntariamente, y usted va a necesitar firmar varios de estos documentos.
The deputies will send those forms over to me to also sign today, and that will start your 30-day clock running.
El alguacil me va a enviar esos documentos a mí en el día de hoy también para que yo lo firme, y eso va a comenzar el proceso por los 30 días en el día de hoy.
Okay. Do you have any questions, sir?
Okay, ¿tiene usted alguna pregunta, señor?
Sí, honorable juez. Quiere decir que hoy cuentan mis 30 días. Si en 30 días no me recogen, quedo libre. Es lo que entiendo. Gracias.
Yes, Your Honor. So that means that my 30 days start today, and if in 30 days they don't pick me up, then I go free.
Yes.
Thank you. Sí.
Okay. Thank you, sir. That'll take care of everything.
Gracias.
Gracias, señor. Eso sería todo. Thank you.
Okay.
Nombre.
All right. Good morning, sir. Can you state your name for me?
Buenos días, señor. ¿Podría usted darme su nombre?
Luis Junior Barrios Gutiérrez.
¿Cuál es su nombre otra vez?
Luis Junior Barrios Gutiérrez.
Luis Junior Barrios Gutiérrez.
Okay. Mr. Barrios, I understand that you were seen by the judge yesterday. Is that right?
Señor Barrios, por lo que yo entiendo, la juez lo vio usted en el día de ayer, ¿es correcto?
Sí, yeah.
Yes.
Okay, and she gave you a bond. I believe it was $500. Does that sound right?
Y la jueza le asignó una fianza, por lo que yo creo fue de $500, ¿es
Yeah.
correcto?
Sí, $500.
Yes.
Okay. So so you've already been seen for this, and we don't need to go through anything again, but you do have a bond, and it's $500.
O sea que ya usted lo vieron por esto y no tenemos que repasar esto nuevamente. Usted sí tiene una fianza y la fianza es de $500.
Sí, mi pregunta es que no tengo persona ahorita que del dinero, pues, para que lo vengan a pagar aquí. Quería yo preguntar si me podían dar una prórroga de unos días que yo pague el dinero. Por ejemplo, yo ahorita mi cartera...
Espérese, señor, espérese, señor. Comience a hablar de nuevo que no le estoy escuchando. Your Honor, the interpreter was not able to understand what the defendant was saying.
Okay.
Comience de nuevo y hable despacio y pausado para poder entenderlo.
Yo en mi cartera tengo $200, me faltarían 300. ¿Qué posibilidad hay de que yo en algunos días yo pague ese dinero? Me podrían dar unos días de prórroga para yo pagar el dinero. No tengo familiar que me venga a pagar la fianza.
In my wallet, I have $200. What means that I still need an extra $300 for the amount of the bond. And I wonder if I can get a few days to pay it, because the thing is that I don't have any family member that can come and pay my bond.
Okay. I don't know what to tell you other than if you do not have the full amount of the bond in cash, you may be able to hire a commercial bonding company.
Yo no sé qué más decirle aparte de que si usted no tiene la cantidad total de su fianza en efectivo, usted podría contratar lo que se llama una compañía de fianza comercial.
Okay. But you'll have to talk to the deputies in terms of using the telephone in order to call a company.
Pero usted tendría que hablar con los alguaciles para que le permitan utilizar los teléfonos para llamar a esas compañías.
Ok, está bien.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Thank
That's
you,
fine.
sir. Mhm.
Gracias, señor.
All right, Your Honor. Sorry about that. He was still on the list for to come to court today.
Yeah. I noticed earlier he was one that was handled yesterday. So, is that all the Spanish-speaking defendants?
Yes, sir.
All right. Okay, Ms. Bermudez. Thank you very much.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Have a
All
good
right.
day.
Thank you. You too.
Thank you.
We
right.
can start with the females, Your Honor.
Okay. All right.
Cardi. You go ahead.
All right. Good morning, ma'am. Can you state your name for me?
Good morning. My name is Jacoria Carton.
Carton. Okay. Give me just a moment here. All right, Miss Carton, you have got there's two charges here. They're both misdemeanors. Driving on a suspended license, that bond is $1,500, and failure to change driver's license address information. That bond is $500. So your total bond is 2,000. Do you plan on posting a bond today?
Yes.
Okay. All right. And do you want to go ahead and waive your preliminary hearing? It would be August the 6th, but if you're bonding out today, it's waived at the point you bond out. We can either put you on the calendar and take it off later after you post bond, or we can go ahead and waive that this morning.
No, you can waive it.
Waive it. Okay. I'm going to indicate here that you're waiving, and the deputies will have a waiver form for you to sign. And do you want to be represented by a public defender?
No.
Do you plan on hiring your own attorney?
No.
You plan on representing yourself?
Yep.
Do you know the penalties for driving on suspended license?
No.
All right. You want to see if you qualify for a public defender that at least can tell you that much? I can see if you qualify, and then I could put the order in if you wanted to talk to somebody. At least you would have somebody on standby ready to talk to at least find out what penalties you face.
I didn't really think it was no penalties. I thought it was just something that you pay because I didn't know that I had a suspended license time. I was supposed to pay something that I didn't know. And he told me it was going to appear or something and not a suspended license.
Okay. All right. Well, I can tell you pretty quickly whether you would qualify for a public defender. And like I said, the only thing they would do is give you advice. You can still decide what you want to do. But do you want to see if you qualify?
Sure.
Okay. What kind of work do you do?
I work at Amazon.
Amazon? Okay. And are you paid weekly?
Yes.
How much do you take home after taxes each week?
I haven't even started the job yet. It started on the 28th.
Okay. So you, I guess as of last week, were you working anywhere?
No.
Okay. All right. I'm going to go ahead and find that you do qualify for a public defender, and that way someone's appointed if you do want some advice on that when you come back to court for your arraignment hearing. Okay. All right. And they'll take care of everything. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay.
So she's finished. The next one step up, right? Y'all scoot all the way down.
All right. Good morning, ma'am. Can you state your name for me?
Good morning, Ashley Bird.
All right, Miss Bird.
Deputy.
You have got 2 charges here. Let's see.
Yeah.
Give me just one moment here to look at something.
Just step back in there. Y'all gotta be escorted.
All right, so Miss Bird, you had 2 charges listed when you came in, and these are both misdemeanors. There's driving on a suspended license. That bond amount is going to be $1,500. You were also charged with failure to change driver's license address information. Based on the information in the arrest affidavit, I'm going to dismiss that charge this morning, although that is something that may be refiled against you at a later time. But as far as this morning, I'm dismissing that one. With a $1,500 bond. Do you plan on bonding out today?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Do you want to go ahead and waive your preliminary hearing since it would be waived at the point you're released anyway?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I will set that here. I'll indicate here that you're waiving. And the deputies there will have a waiver form for you to sign, and they'll send that over to me to sign. And then do you want to be represented by a public defender?
If I qualified,
I'm sorry?
if I qualified, I mean,
yeah, so
do
I
I?
don't know if you qualify. I can see if you qualify this morning. On your application, I understand you are working. I would have to ask you some questions about your income levels to see if you qualify. So it's just up to you. If you want me to see if you qualify, I'll be glad to do that.
Okay.
Okay. What type of work do you do?
Chick-fil-A. I drive for Chick-fil-A.
Chick-fil-A? Oh, okay. Are you paid hourly?
Yes.
How much are you paid per hour?
It's like 10 plus tips. So
Okay.
really.
Okay. And is that your only employment?
Yes, and I just started this other job, so it's not really a lot.
What type of work is it?
It's just security watching, like, like it's watching stuff.
And is it an hourly rate as well?
Mhm.
How much per hour is that supposed to pay you?
It's like 15.
Okay. All right. I'm going to find that you do qualify for a public defender, and I'll go ahead and put the order in to have somebody appointed to represent you on this. All right. Thank you, ma'am.
Oh, I have a question. You
Yes,
said
ma'am. Go ahead. Mhm.
it's 1,500.
Yes, ma'am. 1,500.
Okay, that was
All
it.
right. Okay. Thank you, ma'am.
Step around there. You step up.
All right. Good morning, ma'am. Can you state your name for me?
Good morning, Ashley Graves.
All right, Miss Graves. Get your paperwork up here. Okay, Miss Graves, you are charged with a felony offense, theft by taking. That bond is going to be $4,000. That's going to include a special condition on the bond that while out on bond, you are to stay away from and have no contact with Xavier Smith. Do you and Xavier Smith live at the same residence?
No, sir.
Okay, so just stay away from him and have no contact for now. The preliminary hearing in your case will be August the 7th at 8:30 a.m. And I've received your application for a court-appointed attorney, and I find that you do qualify. So I will put the order in to have somebody appointed to represent you.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, ma'am.
All right, thank you.
Step up here. Go right there and sign there.
Sorry, you get disregard the last conversation.
All right. Good morning, ma'am. Can you state your name for me?
Good morning, Shalay Holden.
All right, Miss Holden. Okay, Miss Holden, you have one charge. That's obstruction of a law enforcement officer. That's being charged as a misdemeanor. That bond is $1,000. The preliminary hearing for you would be August the 6th, unless you want to waive that hearing. Do you want me to schedule that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. We'll put that on, put you on the calendar for August the 6th at 8:30. And I have received your application for a court-appointed attorney, and I find that you do qualify. So I will put the order in appointing somebody to represent you on this. All right. Thank you, ma'am.
All right. You step up.
All right. Good morning, ma'am. Can you state your name for me?
My name is Jayana Jackson.
All right, Miss Jackson. You have got two charges. These are both misdemeanors. The first charge is battery family violence. That bond is going to be $3,500. The next charge is criminal trespass family violence, and that bond is $1,000. So when we add those two together, your total bond this morning comes to $4,500. That includes a special condition that while out on bond, you are to stay away from and have no contact with Micaiah Sadler. Do you and Micaiah Sadler live at the same residence?
No, we don't. She voluntarily left my home.
Okay. So if she's gone, then you can return home. But if she is staying at your home and you get out and she is still there, then you can't be there. Okay. Because you can't be around her.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And your preliminary hearing would be August the 6th, unless you want to waive that hearing. Do you want me to schedule that?
What's waiving it do?
Waiving just cancels it, and it means we transfer your case from magistrate court to state court right away so that your arraignment hearing where you enter a plea can be scheduled. Otherwise, we wait till either you post bond and are released, or we get to the preliminary hearing and then decide whether we're binding it over to state court.
All right, yeah, I'll do that.
You want to waive it?
Yeah.
Okay.
I have another question.
Yes, ma'am. Go ahead.
If you said my bond is in total was 4,500, so that means that whole thing has to be paid.
If you're paying cash bond, it would have to be the whole amount. If you're using a bonding company, they may charge you anywhere from, 450 to 600 and change or something. Usually 10 to 15%.
Okay, thank you. That's all.
Okay. And when you come back to court, do you want to be represented by a public defender?
Yeah, I signed that paper already.
Okay. Yeah. And I've got it. So I've reviewed it, and I'm going to find that you do qualify. So I'll put the order in to have somebody appointed to represent you on this.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. And Ms. Jackson needs to sign a waiver as well.
So just right here, or right here?
That's correct.
All right. Let's see. Ma'am, you may need to take a step forward. I can only see the top. Well, no, actually, that made it worse. If we can lower there we go.
I got to hold it, but.
Okay. All right. Good morning, ma'am. Can you state your name for me?
My name is Mary.
Miss Mary? Okay. All right. So, Miss Mary, you have got 2 charges. There is contributing to the delinquency of a minor. That's a misdemeanor. That bond is going to be $1,000. The second charge is theft by shoplifting. That's being charged as a misdemeanor, and that bond is $1,500. So your total bond comes to $2,500. That comes with a special condition that while out on bond, you are not to return to the Walmart at 2490 Anvil Block Road in Ellenwood while out on bond. Your preliminary hearing would be August the 6th, unless you want to waive that hearing. Do you want me to schedule that?
That's all.
Okay. All right. We'll put you on the calendar for August the 6th at 8:30. And I have received your application for a court-appointed attorney. And I'm going to find that you do qualify. And I will put that order in, appointing somebody to represent you on this. All right. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
You can step up. Right on Sunday. What you got for you? Right. Bennett. Man, y'all said that. Bennett.
All right. Good morning, ma'am. Can you state your name for me?
Savannah Stoika.
All right, Ms. Stoika. You have got 4 charges here, and these are all misdemeanors. So there's driving under the influence. That bond is going to be $2,500. There is driving without headlights. We're going to set that bond at $250. There's possession of marijuana less than 1 ounce. That bond is $1,000. And then there is a tail light violation. We're going to set that bond at $250. So when we add all of those up, your total bond this morning comes to $4,000. Your preliminary hearing would be August the 6th, unless you want to waive that hearing. Do you want me to schedule that? Do you want to waive it?
Waive.
Waive, okay. All right, I'll set that to waive, and the deputies there will have a waiver form for you to sign. And I have received your application for a court-appointed attorney, and I find that you do qualify. So I will put the order in, having somebody appointed to represent you.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, ma'am.
All right, everybody slide down. You step up. You first. You step up. Everybody slide down. What's your last name? Everybody slide down. Burns? Call up. Call up.
All right. Good morning, sir. Can you state your name for me?
Curly, right?
Did you waive your preliminary hearing?
I'm sorry. Say it again.
I said Curly, right?
Mr. Wright. Okay. Give me just a second to get your paperwork.
All right.
Right here. Right. Yeah, you don't go back.
All right, Mr. Wright, you've got 4 charges. These are all misdemeanors. The first is operating a vehicle without insurance, and then there's 3 charges of obstruction of a law enforcement officer. The bond is going to be $1,000 on each of those charges, so your total bond comes to $4,000. Your preliminary hearing would be scheduled for August the 6th, unless you want to waive the hearing. Do you want me to schedule that?
You said my bond is 4,000.
4,000, yes, sir.
It does like a percentage.
If you use a bonding company, they may charge 10 to 15%, something like that.
10 to 15.
Okay. So, but as far as your preliminary hearing, do you want me to go ahead and put you on the calendar for August the 6th in case you run into any issues bonding out?
Yeah.
Okay. And then I've received your application for a court-appointed attorney, and I find that you do qualify, so I'll put the order in appointing an attorney to represent you.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, sir.
All right.
What's your name?
Right. Oh, Curly, right.
Give me just a moment here, sir. All right. And can you state your name for me?
Isaiah Bennett.
Mr. Bennett. All right. Okay, so Mr. Bennett, you have got 2 charges. These are both misdemeanors. There's a window tint violation. That bond is $500, and then there's a possession of marijuana less than 1 ounce. That bond is $1,000. So your total bond is $1,500. Your preliminary hearing would be August the 6th, unless you want to waive that hearing. Do you want me to schedule that?
Yes, and I have a question about the marijuana bond.
Okay.
It was told to me last night that it was $650 when I came in, but if it isn't, can you at least try to reduce it a little bit?
Those are preset at 1,000, so
Okay.
it's just 1,000. Yeah.
Yeah.
And do you want to be represented by a public defender?
Yeah, yes, it's
okay. All right. And based on your application, I find that you do qualify, and I will put that order in appointing somebody to represent you on this. All right. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Mm-hmm, you too.
What's your last name?
Douglas.
All right. Good morning, sir. Can you state your name for me?
Taze Boykin.
All right, Mr. Boykin.
You can actually go back. Hey, can you open the door?
Okay, so Mr. Boykin,
that door?
No.
you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 charges here. Give me just a moment. Okay. You got 6 charges. I'm going to go through. I think these stem from several different incidents here. So let me go through and tell you the bond on each charge. Then I'll add them up here and tell you what the total comes to at the end. So the first charge is battery family violence. This is stemming from an incident in January of 2022. That bond is $3,500. That comes with a special condition that you're to stay away from and have no contact with Alexis Dorsey. The next charge is cruelty to children in the third degree, stemming from the same incident. That bond is $1,000, and that comes with a special condition to stay away from and have no contact with Harmony Boykin. The next charge is obstruction of a law enforcement officer from the same incident. That's a $1,000 bond. Those three charges are all misdemeanors. Do you want a preliminary hearing on those to be scheduled for August the 6th, or do you want to waive that hearing?
Yeah, I'll take the preliminary here.
Okay. All right. So we'll schedule those for August the 6th. Give me just a moment. I got to write this a few times here. Okay, now your next charge stems from an incident in May of 2024. That is a felony. That is terroristic threats. That bond is going to be $5,000. That comes with a special condition that you're to stay away from and have no contact with Stephen Clayton and not return to 670 Georgia Avenue in Forest Park. And I think I said that bond is going to be $5,000. That preliminary hearing will be August the 7th at 8:30 a.m. The next charge from that same incident is a misdemeanor. That's discharge of firearms on the property of another. That bond is going to be $5,000 as well. And the preliminary hearing date will be August the 7th. And then your last charge from the same incident is reckless conduct. That is a misdemeanor. That bond is going to be $2,000, and same preliminary hearing date of August the 7th. All right, and let me add these up and see what we got here. 10, 15, 17,500. I'm adding up a total of 17,500 here. Yeah, 17,500 is your total. Okay, and do you want to be represented by a public defender?
Yes.
Okay, so your application is not filled out. I need to ask you a few questions here. Are you currently employed?
Yes.
What type of work do you do?
Warehouse.
Warehouse. Are you paid hourly?
Hourly.
How much do you make per hour?
$14 per hour.
14 an hour. Do you have any children?
Yes.
How many children do you have?
3.
And are they all under 18 years old?
Yes, they are.
All right, I'm going to find that you do qualify for the public defender, and I will put the order in to have somebody appointed to represent you on this. All right, thank you, sir.
You want me to sign the paperwork for you? Yeah. You good? All right, boy, sit back in the room. Sit back in the room. I got somebody in here. All right.
It's two people that ain't.
All right, good afternoon, sir. Can you state your name for me?
Derek Brock.
All right, Mr. Brock.
And the other dude, he also don't say it.
Oh. Well, they both can.
Okay, Mr. Brock, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 charges. These are all misdemeanors. I'll tell you the bond on each one, and I'll give you the total at the end here. The first charge is no tag. That's a $500 bond. Second charge is fleeing or attempting to elude a police officer. That's a $2,500 bond. Next charge is failure to maintain lane. That's $500. Failure to wear a seatbelt. That's $500. Improper tires. That's $500. And then the last charge is obstruction of a law enforcement officer, and that's a $1,000 bond. So when we add all 6 of those bond amounts up, your total this morning comes to $5,500. Your preliminary hearing would be held August the 6th unless you want to waive that hearing. Do you want me to schedule that?
Yes, sir.
All right, so we'll put you on the calendar for August the 6th at 8:30. And I have received your application for a court-appointed attorney, and I find that you do qualify. So I will appoint somebody to represent you on this. All right, thank you, sir.
You not gonna go? Renatos.
All right, good morning, sir. Can you state your name for me?
Good morning, Sharif Burrs.
All right, Mr. Burris, you have got 2 charges here. One is a stop sign violation. That bond is $500. The next charge is driving on a suspended or revoked license, and that bond is $1,500. So your total bond is $2,000. Do you want me to schedule your preliminary hearing for August the 6th, or do you want to waive that hearing?
Yes, sir. You can schedule it.
Schedule? All right. We'll put you down on the calendar for August the 6th at 8:30. And I have received an application for a court-appointed attorney, and I find that you do qualify, so I'll put the order in to have somebody appointed to represent you.
Yes, sir.
All right. Thank you, sir.
I appreciate you.
Thanks.
We have all right, I'm about to send them back to Saturday.
How long, man?
All right. Good afternoon, sir. Can you state your name for me?
Kyrie Caldwell.
Mr. Caldwell. All right. Mr. Caldwell, you have one charge, that is felony theft by taking. That bond amount is $3,500. That includes a special condition that you're not to return to UPS at 7137 South Lake Parkway while out on bond.
Yeah.
All right. And your preliminary hearing will be August the 7th at 8:30 a.m. And those hearings are held over the computer, just like this one. And I have received your application for a court-appointed attorney, and I find that you do qualify, so I'll put the order in to appoint somebody to represent you. All right. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
I can't. Yeah, y'all go back to right. All right, not in here? Right. I'm right. Vintage. Yeah.
All right. Good morning, sir. Can you state your name for me?
Anthony Constantine.
All right, Mr. Constantine. You have got 4 charges here.
Yeah, I said on the right-hand side.
All right. Your first charge is, and these are all 4 felonies. First charge is burglary in the 2nd degree. That bond is going to be $10,000. Second charge is possession of tools during the commission of certain crimes. That bond is going to be $1,000. Third charge is theft by taking. That bond is going to be $3,500. And the last charge is criminal damage in the 2nd degree. That bond is going to be $1,500. When I add all these together, your total bond comes to $16,000. That comes with a special condition that while out on bond, you're not to return to 1420 South Lake Parkway in Morrow. Your preliminary hearing will be August the 7th at 8:30 a.m., and those hearings are held over the computer, just like this one. And I have reviewed your application for a court-appointed attorney, and I find that you do qualify, so I will appoint somebody to represent you on these charges. All right. Thank you, sir.
Hey, he got a son? No, Constantine, right? Yeah, he got a son. All
right, good afternoon, sir. Can you state your name for me?
Kadari Douglas.
All right, so Mr. Douglas, you have got two charges here. Your first charge is hijacking a motor vehicle. That is a charge that only a superior court judge can set a bond for, so I can't give you a bond on that one this morning. Your other charge is possession of a firearm during the commission of certain crimes. I've considered, but am denying bond on that as well this morning. The preliminary hearing in your case will be scheduled for August the 7th at 8:30 a.m., and those hearings are held over the computer, just like this one. And I have received your application for a court-appointed attorney, and I find that you do qualify, so I will have somebody appointed to represent you on these charges. All right. Thank you, sir.
All right, stay right there next time.
All right. Good afternoon. Can you state your name for me?
Martez Dukes.
Mr. Dukes. All right.
Johnson.
All right. So, Mr. Dukes, you have got 4 charges. The first 2 are misdemeanors. So there's a seatbelt violation, that's a $500 bond, and a tag light violation, that's a $500 bond. The next charge is a felony, that's possession of a controlled substance. That bond is going to be $2,500. And then the last charge is a misdemeanor, that's possession of marijuana less than 1 ounce. That bond will be $1,000. So your total bond comes to $4,500. Your preliminary hearing will be August the 7th at 8:30 a.m., and those hearings are conducted over the computer, just like this one. And I have received your application for a court-appointed attorney, and I find that you do qualify, so I will have somebody appointed to represent you. All right. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
What's your name? Y'all slide down. That head, get that bread. Get there. Just stay right there. Get that head, that bread, leave.
No, you don't deserve the same part.
All right. Good afternoon, sir. Can you state your name for me?
Good afternoon, Your Honor. I'm Jason David Granados.
Mr. Granados. Okay. Okay, so Mr. Granados, do you know what your charge is?
When I was arrested, they told me it was under an assault charge, but it's simple assault.
Okay. So the charge is sexual battery. The bond, it is a misdemeanor. The bond on that is going to be $10,000. There will be special conditions here that you'll need to stay away from the alleged victim, Jaden Towns, and also not return to Hartsfield-Jackson Airport unless you're in possession of a valid ticket for travel on that same day. The preliminary hearing in your case would be scheduled for August the 6th unless you want to waive that hearing. Do you want me to schedule that?
You can waive that, Your Honor.
Waive? Okay. All right. And so the deputies there will have a waiver form for you to sign. And then they'll send that over to me to sign as well. And I have received your application for a court-appointed attorney. I find you do qualify. So I will put the order in appointing somebody to represent you. All right. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Your Honor. Have a good rest of your day.
Thanks. All right. Good afternoon. Can you state your name for me?
Bruce Griffith.
All right. All right, Mr. Griffin, you have got 5 charges. The first 2 are misdemeanors. That's failure to maintain lane and failure to exercise due care. Those bonds are each $500. The next two charges are felonies: possession of a controlled substance, cocaine, and then possession of a controlled substance, marijuana, over 1 ounce. Those are felonies. Those bonds are $3,500 each. Your last charge is a misdemeanor. That's use or possession of a drug-related object. That bond is $500. So when I add all of these up, let's see, 7, 8, your total comes to $8,500. Your preliminary hearing will be August the 7th at 8:30 a.m. and those take place over the computer, just like this one. And based on your application for a court-appointed attorney, I'm going to find that you do qualify, so I will appoint somebody to represent you on this. All right. Thank you, sir.
You didn't sign your. Here. You
No.
got this person up.
Harvey got to sign.
What's his name?
Harvey, right? Hey, sir, you got your name Harvey. What's your last name? Oh, not Griffin, I guess.
Alright, they go back to 7. We just send them straight down for you. She got to walk with.
All right. Good afternoon, sir. Can you state your name for me?
Bryson Hope.
Say it again.
Bryson Hope.
Sebastian Harbin.
Bryson Hope.
Bryson Hope. Okay, I got you. Give me just a moment.
You said what? What is it?
He asked where my car was.
Oh, my fault.
All right, so Mr. Hope, you have one charge. That is a felony, theft by conversion. The criminal records index indicates you were given 5 years confinement and 15 years probation back in 2012 from Douglas County Superior Court. Since we're still within that time period, I cannot give you a bond on any felony offenses, so I can't give you a bond on this charge this morning.
Oh my God.
The preliminary hearing in your case will be scheduled for August the 7th at 8:30 a.m. and those hearings are held over the computer, just like this one.
Sir.
And do you want a court-appointed attorney to represent you?
Yes.
Okay. What kind of work do you do? Or do you currently have an income?
I'm unemployed at the time.
Okay.
Why can't I get a bond now?
Because if you're on a probation, if you're still in that probation period, I don't have the authority to give a bond on a felony offense. This is being charged as a felony. Okay. All right. So I'm going to find that you do qualify for the public defender, and I will put that order in to have somebody appointed to represent you. Thank you, sir.
Next person up.
Sorry. Give me just 1 second. I'll be right back.
Go ahead, say it. Come on. Send it back.
I gotta give you one. I don't know.
Thanks.
Okay, sorry about that. And give me just one moment to get this paperwork finished here.
Jones don't care, you're gonna go.
I really don't. He said, hey, move.
Okay, listen to Jones, no door.
He said, hey, we about to be done. He said, we about to be done.
You said.
He said, no, I don't want it. I'm good.
What's your question?
He said, we about to be done soon.
All right, and good afternoon, sir. Can you state your name for me?
Sebastian Harbin.
All right, so Mr. Harbin, you have got 2 charges. Actually, you got several here. Hang on just a second. Let me get this up on the screen. I think there's 3 groups of charges. So what I'm going to do is start with the most severe charges down here. You're charged with hijacking a motor vehicle. That is a charge that only a superior court judge can issue a bond for, so I don't have the authority to issue a bond on that charge this morning. The next charge is a felony. That's called entering an automobile. I'm going to deny bond on that one since I can't give you a bond on the hijacking anyway. The next group of charges, and I'm sorry, that preliminary hearing will be scheduled for August the 7th at 8:30 a.m. The next charge here is a criminal trespass. I'm sorry. Hang on just a second. Let me give you some more information. Okay, the next group of charges has 2 criminal trespass charges. This stems from an incident on July the 9th at 2773 Austin Lane. And the bond on each of those criminal trespass charges is going to be $1,500. And those come with special conditions that you are to stay away from and have no contact with the alleged victim, Jennifer Weems, and stay away from 2773 Austin Lane in Jonesboro. Then the next charge is also a criminal trespass charge. This stems from a different location at 513 Clara Drive in Riverdale. Give me just a moment here. Also on the 9th of July. That bond is going to be $1,500, and that stay away provision is you have to stay away from and have no contact with Danielle Golphin and stay away from 513 Clara Drive in Riverdale. On these 3 criminal trespass charges, we can either schedule your preliminary hearing for August the 6th, or if you want to waive the preliminary hearing on those, you can do that. Do you want me to schedule those?
Yes.
Okay, so we'll put you on the calendar for August the 6th at 8:30. And I have received an application for a court-appointed attorney, but it says refused at the top. Do you plan on hiring your own attorney?
Yep.
Okay, I'm just going to write here that you'll be hiring your own. All right. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's your bro. That's your bro. Hold it.
Hey, you sound right.
What's your last name?
Oh.
Right. Fine.
All right. Good afternoon, sir. Can you state your name for me?
Jared Hill.
All right, Mr. Hill, you have got 2 charges. These are both misdemeanors. The first is obstruction of a law enforcement officer. That bond is $1,000. The second charge is fleeing from a police officer, and that bond is going to be $2,000. So your total bond is going to be $3,000. Your preliminary hearing would be August the 6th, unless you want to waive that hearing. Do you want me to schedule that? Waive it. All right. So I'll indicate here that you're waiving the preliminary hearing, and the deputies there will have a waiver form for you to sign. And they'll send that to me to sign this morning. And I have received your application for a court-appointed attorney. And based on your application, I find that you do qualify, so I will put the order in appointing somebody to represent you. All right. Thank you, sir.
All right, this man up. What's your last name? He got to sign.
Yes, Mr. Hill needs to sign a waiver too.
Yeah.
Top four.
All right. Good afternoon, sir. Can you state your name for me?
Leonard Johnson.
All right, Mr. Johnson.
Rollins.
You have got 3 charges. These are all misdemeanors. The first charge is battery, family violence. That bond amounts $3,500. Second charge is criminal trespass, family violence. That bond is $1,500. And the last charge is cruelty to children in the 3rd degree. That bond is $1,000. We add all those 3 bonds up, then your total this morning comes to $6,000. There's special conditions here that while out on bond, you are to stay away from Alexandra Belson and Gianna Gabriel. Do you live at the same residence as either of them? Okay. And then your preliminary hearing would be August the 6th, unless you want to waive that hearing. Do you want me to schedule that? Waive it?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I'll indicate here that you're waiving.
Yes, sir.
And you'll sign a waiver there.
Okay.
And I have reviewed your application for a court-appointed attorney, and I find you do qualify, so I'll put the order in to appoint somebody to represent you. All right. Thank you, sir.
Where's the waivers?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Johnson need to sign? Hey, come on, bro.
All right, next one up. As soon as one finish, next person step in.
All right. Good morning, sir. Can you state your name for me?
Jerry Jones.
All right, Mr. Jones, you have got 1 charge. That is felony theft by taking, and that bond amount is going to be $4,000. That's going to include a special condition that while out on bond, you're not to return to Auto Air South at 5150 Jonesboro Road in Lake City. Your preliminary hearing will be August the 7th at 8:30 a.m., and those hearings will be conducted over the computer, just like this one. I've reviewed your application for a court-appointed attorney and find you do qualify, so I will put an order in appointing somebody to represent you on this charge. All right. Thank you, sir.
When you get down there, let us know, and they'll take you up. That's why
Hey, what? No, he needs your last name.
Jones.
All right. Good afternoon, sir. Can you state your name for me?
Ray Kelly.
All right, Mr. Kelly. All right. You have got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 charges. 6 of these are felonies. So I'm going to start with the misdemeanor. The misdemeanor is improper lane change, and that bond is $500. The rest of these are felonies. There are 2 possession of a Schedule I controlled substance charges and 2 possession with intent to distribute charges. So on those 4 possession charges, the bond is $3,500 on each one of those. The next charge is possession of a firearm during the commission of certain crimes. That bond is $5,000. The last charge is possession of a firearm by a convicted felon. That bond is $8,000. So when we add all these bonds up, your grand total this morning comes to $27,500. Your preliminary hearing will be scheduled for August the 7th at 8:30 a.m. Those hearings are held over the computer, just like this one. And I have received your application for a court-appointed attorney, and I find that you do qualify, so I will appoint somebody to represent you on this. All right. Thank you, sir. All right. And good afternoon, sir. Can you state your name for me?
Travis Long.
All right, Mr. Long. Give me just a moment here.
She said, don't get me using for you. I said he talk. Oh.
All right, so Mr. Long, you've got two misdemeanors here. The first is possession of marijuana less than 1 ounce. That bond is $1,000. The second charge is failure to meet registration requirements. That bond is going to be $500. So your total bond is $1,500. Your preliminary hearing would be held on August the 6th, unless you want to waive that hearing. Do you want me to schedule that?
Can I waive it?
Yeah, you can waive it this morning if you want to.
Yes, sir.
All right, so I'll indicate here that you're waiving the hearing, and the deputies there will have a waiver form for you to sign.
All right.
And I have reviewed your application for a court-appointed attorney, and I find you do qualify, so I'll see that somebody's appointed to represent you.
All right.
All right, thank you, sir.
Sure.
And he did sign the waiver.
Yeah, and Mr. Long needs to sign a waiver.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
You got one job.
Who merchants?
What's your name, sir?
All right, good afternoon, sir. Can you state your name for me?
Tim Denard,
Mr. Mott.
Yes, sir.
All right, Mr. Mott, you've got one charge that is criminal trespass. That bond is going to be $1,000. That includes a special condition that you're to stay away from Hartsfield-Jackson Airport unless you're in possession of a valid ticket for travel on that same day. Your preliminary hearing would be August the 6th, unless you want to waive that hearing. Do you want me to schedule that?
No, sir.
Okay, do you want to waive it?
What's waiving?
Waive it just means we transfer your case to state court right away so that your arraignment hearing where you enter a plea can be scheduled faster. But if you want us to put you on the calendar for a preliminary hearing, that would be August the 6th. So it's just up to you if you want us to schedule it or if you want to waive it.
I want to waive it.
You want to waive it?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So I'll indicate here you're waiving, and then I've received an application for a court-appointed attorney. I find that you do qualify, and I'll put an order in to have somebody appointed to represent you on this case. All right. Thank you, sir.
All right.
And Mr. Mott needs to sign a waiver.
All right.
You don't gotta sign.
Y'all do me a favor.
All right. Good afternoon, sir. Can you state your name for me?
Bobby Murchison.
All right, Mr. Murchison, you have got two charges here. First charge is theft by receiving stolen property. That is being charged as a felony. That bond is going to be $5,000. The second charge is failure to maintain lane. That's a misdemeanor. That bond is $500. So your total bond is $5,500. Your preliminary hearing will be August the 7th at 8:30 a.m. And those hearings are held over the computer like this one. And do you want to be represented by a public defender?
No, sir.
Do you plan on hiring your own attorney?
Yes, sir.
All right. I'm just going to indicate that here on the form. All right. Thank you, sir.
Can I waive that August whatever?
No, sir. Not one of these is a felony, and we don't do waivers on felonies at first appearance hearings. So we'll put it on the calendar for now.
All right. Thanks, sir.
All right. Thank you. Uh-huh.
Hey, guys, sorry.
How you doing, Your Honor?
All right. Good afternoon. Can you state your name for me?
Eric Perkins, Your Honor.
I'm sorry?
Eric Perkins, Your Honor.
Sorry, you had to say it one more time.
Eric Perkins.
Perkins. Okay, gotcha. All right. All right. So, Mr. Perkins, you have got two charges here. The first is well, let me move to there's aggravated assault by strangulation, and that's a felony. I have considered, but am denying bond on that charge this morning. The second charge is a battery. That's a misdemeanor. I can go ahead and assign a bond amount on that one. That's going to be $3,500. That includes a stay away provision that you're to have no contact with and stay away from Jasmine Pham. Do you and Jasmine Pham live at the same residence? Okay. All right. And your preliminary hearing is going to be held on August the 7th at 8:30 a.m. And those hearings are held over the computer, just like this one. And I have received your application for a court-appointed attorney, and I find that you do qualify, so I will see that somebody's appointed to represent you on this. All right. Thank you, sir.
Question, can I ask a
Yes,
question?
sir. Go
So,
ahead.
the fact that you deny it, I have to wait, and even though if I pay the other bond, I won't be able to get out.
Right, because of the aggravated assault by strangulation charge. Yeah. Yeah. So just to talk to your attorney about it, they may be able to work something out before the preliminary hearing.
Okay, how can I contact them?
They'll contact you, and I don't know what their timeline is, but they will reach out to you because I'll put the order in now, appointing somebody. Okay. All right. Thank you, sir.
Stevenson.
All right. Good morning, sir. Can you state your name for me?
Section Paramount.
Paramount. All right. Give me just a minute here. All right, Mr. Paramount, you have got two charges. There is an obstruction of a law enforcement officer that's being charged as a felony. That bond is going to be $2,000, and the next charge is criminal trespass. That's being charged as a misdemeanor, and that's $1,500. So the total bond is $3,500. That includes a special condition that you are not to return to Stockbridge Inn at 7265 Davidson Parkway North in Stockbridge. The preliminary hearing in your case will be August the 7th at 8:30 a.m. And those hearings are held over the computer, just like this one. And I have received your application for a court-appointed attorney, and I find you do qualify, so I will appoint somebody to represent you. All right. Thank you, sir.
Come on, using 7. Come on. What's going on?
All right. Good morning, sir. Can you state your name for me?
Gregory Parker.
Mr. Parker. All right. All right. So, Mr. Parker, you have got one charge that is public drunkenness. That bond is $1,000. That's a misdemeanor. Your preliminary hearing would be August the 6th, unless you want to waive that hearing. Do you want me to schedule that?
You can go ahead and schedule for August 6th.
Okay. All right. We'll put you on the calendar. And do you want to be represented by a public defender?
Well, I can't afford an attorney. Do I necessarily need an attorney, public defender?
Well, we can see if you qualify for a free attorney, so it wouldn't cost you anything. What do you currently work or have any kind of income?
No, sir, I don't.
Okay. All right. Okay, I'm going to find that you do qualify for a public defender, so I'll put the order in to see that somebody's appointed to represent you on this, okay?
Okay, could I ask you a question?
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Well, I'm sure you guys will find out eventually. I'm currently on probation, so would it affect my probation?
So I don't know anything about probation because the only information I have is just this charge. So other pending things I don't have.
Okay.
So you'd have to talk to your probation officer.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Mr.
Hi, good afternoon, sir. Can you state your name for me?
Devin Rollins.
Rollins, okay. All right, so Mr. Rollins, you have 4 charges. The first one of these is a felony. That's possession of a Schedule II controlled substance, and that's a $2,500 bond. The next 3 charges are misdemeanors. That's possession of marijuana less than 1 ounce. That is a $1,000 bond. There's improper brake lights. That's going to be a $500 bond. And operating a vehicle without insurance, that's a $1,000 bond. So when we add all the bonds up, your total comes to $5,000. Your preliminary hearing will be August the 7th at 8:30 a.m., and those hearings are held over the computer, just like this one. And on your application for an attorney, it says refuse. Do you plan on hiring your own attorney?
You know what? Can I go ahead and just see
See,
if I?
do you want to see if you qualify?
Yeah.
Okay. What do you currently work?
Probably not after this.
Okay. What type of work were you doing before?
I'm a chef.
Chef. Okay. Are you paid weekly?
No, bi-weekly.
Bi-weekly? How much do you take home after taxes bi-weekly?
Maybe 600.
Okay. And that's your only income?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I'm going to find that you do qualify for a public defender, so I'll put the order in appointing somebody to represent you on this. All right. Thank you, sir. Mhm.
Hey, come on, bro. They signed the white.
Just what a big back would say. Just what a big back would say.
All right. Good afternoon, sir. Can you state your name for me?
Good afternoon. My name is Sean Stevenson.
All right, Mr. Stevenson. You have got one charge, that is battery, and that is a misdemeanor.
Yes, sir.
And that bond amount is going to be $3,500, and that includes a special condition that while out on bond, you will need to stay away from and have no contact with Kelly Threats. Do you and Kelly Threats live at the same residence?
No, sir.
Okay. All right. So just stay away from her and have no contact with her for now. And your preliminary hearing would be August the 6th, unless you want to waive that hearing. Do you want me to schedule that?
No, sir. Can you wait that?
Waive. Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right. So you'll sign a waiver there, and that'll take care of that. And then I have received your application for a court-appointed attorney, and I find that you do qualify. So I'll put the order in to have somebody appointed to represent you.
Thank you.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. I had a question.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
I can't get an OR bond.
No, sir. Not on a battery charge.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
And Mr. Stevenson needs to sign a waiver as well.
Yes, sir.
Yes. All right. Good afternoon, sir. Can you state your name for me?
Jakari Terrell.
Mr. Terrell. All right. All right. So, Mr. Terrell, you have one charge. That is a misdemeanor, criminal trespass, family violence. That bond is $1,500. That's going to include special conditions that while out on bond, you are to stay away from and have no contact with Jashad Jones and not return to 2252 Sugarleaf Trail in Hampton. If you have personal items there at the residence that you would need while this bond condition is in place, you can schedule an appointment with the sheriff's office within the first 10 days of your release, and they'll give you an appointment where you can go to the property to get personal items. Your preliminary hearing would be held August the 6th, unless you want to waive that hearing. Do you want me to schedule that?
No, you can waive it.
Waive, okay.
So what if they had left the house? What if they already left?
Well, was Mr. Jones leaving the residence?
Yes.
Okay. And were you two the only ones who lived there?
He left when I got locked up.
Okay. All right. I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll take the provision off with the address as far as the stay away from the address. You still have to stay away from him. And so what that means if you find out that he is still there, then you can't be there. But if he has left the residence, then you would be able to go back. Okay. All right. And let me see. And I have received your application for a court-appointed attorney, and I find that you do qualify, so I will put the order in to have somebody appointed to represent you. All right. Thank you, sir. And And Mr. Terrell needs to sign a waiver, deputies. Okay, thank you.
One of the other. Appreciate you. Let's go back. Let's look at
All right. And good afternoon, sir. Can you state your name for me?
Chief Thornton.
All right, Mr. Thornton. You've got there's 3 sets of charges here. So let me start with the most severe one here. So you were charged with homicide by vehicle in the 1st degree. That is a felony. I have considered but am denying bond this morning on that charge. You're also charged with reckless driving. That bond is going to be $4,000. You're charged with seatbelt violation and failure to maintain lane. I can go ahead and put bonds of $500 on each of those. And then you're also charged with speeding. That bond is going to be $1,000. The next charge here, well, let me say that preliminary hearing will be scheduled for August the 7th at 8:30 a.m. The next charge here is driving under the influence. That bond is going to be $5,000. Give me just one moment. I think that should be attached. Hang on just a second to review this. Okay. Yeah, so that preliminary hearing will be the same day, August the 7th. And let's see that. And then the last charge here is obstruction of law enforcement personnel and 2 charges of simple assault. Those are all misdemeanors. The obstruction charge will have a $1,000 bond, and the simple assault charges will have a $1,500 bond on each one. So your total bond on those 3 charges is $4,000. And those charges will be heard at a preliminary hearing on August the 6th at 8:30 a.m. Unless you want to waive that. Since those 3 are misdemeanors, I will allow you to waive that hearing if you want to. Do you want me to schedule that?
Schedule, yes.
Schedule? Okay. All right. And let me find your application here. All right. And I have received your application for a court-appointed attorney. So I will find that you do qualify, and I'll put the order in appointing somebody to represent you on these charges. All right. Yes, sir. Go ahead.
I know I don't have a bond for the vehicular homicide.
I'm sorry. Hang on just one second. Okay, I'm sorry about that. Go ahead.
I understand that I don't have a bond on the vehicular homicide, but what's the total bond for everything else?
Let's see. I'll have to add up because your charges are divided out into 3 different sections here. So let me see. In the first section, that's 4,000. Second section, 5,000. So that's 9,000. And then the last part would be 15,000 total for all the charges other than the homicide by vehicle. Okay. All right. Thank you, sir.
All right, next man up. Right in the best.
So we'll sign the white box.
All right, good afternoon, sir. Can you state your name for me? Mr. Weddington?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, so Mr. Wennington, you have got 3 charges here. These are all misdemeanors. So there's following too closely. That bond is $500. Then there's 2 charges of obstruction of a law enforcement officer, and they're each going to have a bond of 1,000. So when we add up those 3 bonds, your total comes to $2,500. Your preliminary hearing would be August the 6th, unless you want to waive that hearing. Do you want me to schedule that?
Oh, yeah, you can schedule.
All right. And then I have received your application for a court-appointed attorney, and I will find that you do qualify, and I'll put the order in to have somebody appointed to represent you. All right. Thank you, sir.
You got some? All right, next one up. Girl, here you go, sorry.
All right. Good afternoon, sir. Can you state your name for me?
Daniel Whitaker.
All right, Mr. Whitaker.
Wellington, right there. Wellington.
Okay, you have got 2 charges. The first one's a felony. That's possession of a Schedule II controlled substance. That bond is $2,500. The second charge is possession of marijuana less than 1 ounce. That's a misdemeanor amount. That bond is $1,000. So your total bond comes to $3,500. Your preliminary hearing will be August the 7th at 8:30 a.m., and those hearings are held over the computer, just like this one. I have received your application for a court-appointed attorney, and I find that you do qualify. So I will put the order in to have somebody appointed to represent you on these charges. All right. Thank you, sir.
He got
All right. Good morning, sir. Can you state your name for me?
Andre Williams, sir. How you doing?
Good, good. All right. So, Mr. Williams, you have been picked up on an out-of-state warrant, and it looks like we got all the paperwork in. It looks like you were wanted out of Jacksonville, Florida, for a violation of, let's see, I believe it was a violation of probation.
I thought it was
failure. Yeah, so it's listed as a failure to comply with career offender requirements. Okay. What they have indicated is that they would like to extradite you and come and pick you up and bring you back to Florida to face that charge. What I'm going to do is give you some information about extradition, and when I get done giving you the information, I'm going to ask you whether you want to agree that they can come and pick you up, or whether you want to contest the legality of the extradition proceeding. But let me give you this information first. You have the right to be represented by an attorney. All of the rights that I explained earlier to everyone else also apply to you. I'm not aware of any charges that you have here in Clayton County. I'm only aware of the warrant that Jacksonville, Florida is asking to have you extradited to face that charge. If you desire to contest the legality of the extradition proceeding, then you must file or have filed on your behalf a writ of habeas corpus. That is the legal document that contests the extradition. However, the writ of habeas corpus can only contest 4 issues, and the first is whether the extradition documents are in order on their face. The second is whether you are charged with something that is actually a crime in Florida. The third is whether you are the person named in Florida's request for extradition. The fourth is whether you qualify as a fugitive from justice. You cannot contest the issue of your guilt or innocence while here in Georgia. That has to take place in a Florida courtroom, okay? And let me tell you about the time limits here. If you waive extradition, and that is you are agreeing that they can come and pick you up, then they will have 30 days to do so. If they haven't picked you up after 30 days, then you would be released from jail. The other option is if you are going to contest the extradition, and that's where you take the position that they should not legally be able to come and pick you up, then they would have those initial 30 days to complete the process. And if they have not completed the process within the 30 days, they can get an additional 60 days where you would be held. So they would get a total of 90 days if you are contesting the extradition. So with all of that in mind, do you want to waive extradition, which gives them the 30 days to come and get you, or do you want to contest extradition, which may give them up to 90 days to complete the process?
I don't want to take the 90 days. I'll do the 30.
The waive, okay. All right. So there's a waiver form that you'll have to sign several times over there, and the deputies will send those over to me to also sign today, and I'll file them today. That'll start the 30-day clock running, and that'll take care of everything on your case.
If I knew this was going, I would have left and went back to Jacksonville. So I didn't even know this was going on.
I understand. Okay. Thank you, sir.
All right, sign all those that's highlighted. All right, Your Honor, that's everybody.
All right, let me make sure. I think that's everybody I've got. Yeah, that's everybody I've got. All right.